Hello, y'all. Welcome. I'll be reviewing Love is Blind Season 9, Denver. I'll be reviewing episodes 7 through 9. And I won't waste any time. I'll just jump right into the review, okay? And let's get started. So the episode started off with Madison. Episode 7 started off with Madison crying over the situation with Joe, saying she's embarrassed. And he asked her why she's embarrassed, because he was drunk before, right? And he was just like, I thought he was just trying to sleep it off. That's what I thought. And I thought, her reaction was just totally just overreacting, and not understanding his point of view of why he may not want the camera there and all that stuff. That's what I thought from, my last review. Um, so he asked her though why she's embarrassed, and she said, "Well, I'm embarrassed because I'm on the patio crying by myself." And I'm like, "Girl, that's why you're embarrassed? Like, what is he supposed to do? He's trying to sleep his drunk off." So I can definitely understand that. Um, I don't know. I was confused by her actions. So I felt like Madison was definitely trying to pick a fight because he was confused. Imagine waking up after you've been drunk and just knowing, hey, I'm just trying to sleep this off. And then somebody wake you up talking about they're embarrassed because they were crying by themselves on the patio. And then you're just trying to figure things out. So I don't know. I think for me, I think she was just trying to pick a fight for no reason. But I also think that, they were all drinking, right? And I think I feel like when she drinks, she probably just one of those people, because there's people that just get super emotional and they start crying when they drink and they just get really like sad and in their feelings and all that stuff. So people react differently when they're drunk. And I think she's probably one of those people whose emotions are a little bit heightened. Um, in that way when they're drunk, like they get super emotional with the tears and all that stuff. So I think maybe that was what's going on with her, and she basically didn't even realize it, because it was very confusing, the arguments, what they were arguing about. Jordan and Megan also had a little moment, okay, where she was telling him, she felt some type of way because he was very jokey with Joe at the pool and at the little party that they were having. And she was just like, I thought we were going to be the power couple, not you and Joe out there laughing, making everybody laugh and all that stuff. She's like, I thought it was going to be me and you, like you were always with him versus with me. So she was just not having it, but she was smart. She felt some type of way, but she was laughing with him as well. Like, I do feel some type of way. I understand, but I just want to let you know my feelings. And he got it. He was like, yeah, I'll pay more attention next time or whatnot. Um, Edmund, he apologized to Calabria. And I'm just going to say KB from now on because I'm never sure if I'm saying her name right. Because as I've seen throughout the episode, sometimes people say Calabria and sometimes people say Calibria. So I'm like, which one is it? Because there's not her name isn't spelled Kalay, it's spelled Kalybia. So I'm like, is it Calabria or Calibria? Like, how do we really say your name? So, and I'm tired of messing up her name. So I'm just going to say KB, I may say it, I may slip up and say the whole thing, but, I'm just going to try to remember to call her KB so I, don't disrespect her name. Um, so she told him that she is learning from him, but she still feels some type of way about the conversation that they had yesterday, and this is taking it back to the conversation they had when they were, in bed and they were talking about sex and how they were the only couple that really hadn't taken it there. And, she wasn't ready for that yet. And he just wasn't understanding of that and he started doing his weird crying thing and getting really emotional with her. And she was just like, he just didn't seem to understand. So they talked and they apologized as well. But, she's looking at him, with that one good eye from now on, you know what I mean? And then Annie and Nick, they were having their little conversation about the real world, saying that they were ready for it. Madison and Joe also apologized to each other the next day. I swear, this couple always arguing about something, saying that they wanted it to work, okay? And then the group, they met up for like a final meetup before going back home from the honeymoon. They were sharing, they were talking with each other about what, going back to Denver is going to look like. Nick and Annie, they got into a fight while packing to leave because the fight was really odd to me. It was basically like Annie telling Nick how much she loved him and basically feel like he didn't love her as much as she loved him. And he's just like, this is a process and, I care about you and I love you, but, this is something that, is, we're still working on it, So, and he's, she's like, oh, well, I love you. You just don't understand how much I love you. You don't love me the same as I love you. I love you so much. You don't love me as I love you. And I'm just like, girl. Oh Lord, this was a weird argument, okay? Another weird argument. Um, so they're going back home. Well, they're back home now, okay? And this episode, Megan, she got emotional talking about meeting Jordan's son, Luca, and potentially meeting Luca's mother as well, She, everything is moving so quickly. So, and I can understand that. I can understand her getting emotional with him, and it is moving fast. And when a kid's involved, oh, it's like you really want to make things work. Um, so I feel like it can be overwhelming. So Nick, he tried to calm her down and he let her know, if need be, when this process move a little bit, since this process is moving so fast, if need be, I'm open to allowing you to meet Luca a little sooner, if this will make the transition to us being married better. Because remember, they get married in 3 weeks, um, from where we're filming. Okay, they get married in 3 weeks. So it's like, okay, well, how can we make this a smooth transition on everybody, especially the kid. The kid is gonna need it more because it's like now he has a new stepmom, Um, so he said that, and I thought that was kind of, I thought that was good on him, to kind of see that and try to put her at ease. I like that on his part. But, it's always tough. It's like, when do you introduce a kid to somebody that you love? And in this case, potentially marry in 3 weeks. So it's just one of those things. Okay, so episode 8. So episode 7 went by really fast, actually. So episode 8. Okay, so Annie, she was telling Nick how much she loved him and was all in, right? She loved telling Nick how much she loves him. Okay. He told her she can't be putting words in his mouth, the way that they had the night before previously, because or the way that they were before they left the honeymoon, where she was basically saying, you don't love me as much as I love you or whatnot. And the way she was stressing how much she loved him, I'm just like, are you trying to convince yourself? Like, you don't have to try to convince him so hard that you love him. This is a process. Like, let it flow out, Like, who are you trying to convince that you love him so much? It just, I don't know. Something was just kind of off in that situation as well. But who knows? I just felt it was just kind of weird, her stressing it so much about how much she loved him. Joe was asking Madison how she is so sure about him and the relationship. Okay. And she said she just was, and he told her, that it's hard for him. He's like, this is hard for me. It's, he's telling her, it's a process. Um, I don't know. For me in this situation, okay, I feel Joe was the one picking the fight in this situation because I'm just like, why are you, if she's trying to tell you she's sure about you, why are you being like, well, it's a process, it's this, it's that? Like, why are you trying to, it was like, because this wasn't just like a conversation, like where it was a part, it seems like he just, well, how are you so sure about me? Why are you so sure about me? Like, it's almost like he wanted her to say, I wasn't sure about you. Like, he wanted her to be like, I'm not sure about you. So he could be like, I'm not sure about you either. We in this together. Like, we're just gonna play this out. Like, it was weird. It was just like, I don't, it was weird. I felt like he was picking something with her. And she felt it too, He was like, this is an experiment. This experiment isn't normal. And she was like, yeah, I do. You signed up for it. Clearly, it wasn't normal. You signed up for it. So let's go with the flow of things, let's, if you, it's like, if you don't want her to, just tell her. Like, stop trying to play it out to make her be the one to end it or to make her be the one to say something. She's already telling you it's not going to be me. I ain't going to be the one to say nothing because I like you. I care about you. Matter of fact, I love you. So I'm not going to be the one to blow this up. So if you want this to blow up, you got to do it yourself, my dude. Um, So yeah, I didn't like that how he was playing at her. I didn't like that. Allie and Anton, they were having a conversation while they were preparing dinner, and I don't remember exactly what she said. Okay, I should have written it down. But she said something playfully to her, and then he accused her like of being passive aggressive. He was like, "Ooh, somebody's passive aggressive," and he said it playfully, but I didn't like how he said that. It's one of those things where the way he said it was like, I feel like that will eventually become something. I don't know. Maybe it's just me and I'm reading too much into it, but I guess from past relationship, when people start talking like that and saying stuff like that, like, oh, you're being kind of rude, or oh, you're being kind of mean, or you're being kind of passive aggressive, or you're being kind of this. It's like you may say it playfully, but you're really meaning something because you know I did not mean it like that. If you know I did not mean something like that, and then you say I'm being something where, and you know I didn't mean it like that, that mean, especially on camera, you're playing at something, and I don't like that. So maybe I'm reading too much into it again, but that's how I felt in that situation. I was like, why is he calling? That's kind of weird that he's calling her passive aggressive. Um, but they kept on discussing, and they had like a discussion about finances, and she told him, I believe in having a joint account, but I also want a separate account, because then she playfully said, I don't want you to know about how much I spend on my Botox. But I know it's more than that. Any women know it's more than that. Like, we want our own. Yes, we can have a joint account, but we want our own stuff. Like, we don't want a man to own us. I feel like that's a controlling factor where if I don't have, my own thing, now you can see everything I do. You can be in everything I'm being in. And I'm okay with you. If yeah, I'm okay with you having your separate account. Why are you not okay with me having my separate account? To me, there's some control issue there, and I don't like that. Um, so he didn't see the point. He didn't agree with it. He didn't see the point of having a separate account. And I'm like, red flag. That's a red flag for me. Okay. With Anton, I wasn't feeling that. Um, I think they should have had a longer conversation about that. And maybe they did. The camera just didn't show it. But I think that could definitely cause problem in the future because the conversation, they were having that conversation, and I don't know if it's a camera cut or something, but he just automatically switched the conversation from a serious conversation like that to, hey, why don't we get matching, what was he say? Matching monogram sweaters. This is a serious conversation. Monogram sweaters, we don't need no monogram sweaters, like this is our finances. Like, how do we view finances? Because, they say that's one of the number one reason in marriages break up is over finances. It's not even over like the we fell out of love type stuff. It's really over finances. That's what they say, and they means like, researchers and all those people that do stats and, surveys and all that stuff. They say that. So I'm like, if this has been said, let's have that. Let's finish this conversation and come to a resolution. But maybe they did. Okay, not everything is for the camera, so maybe they didn't show it on camera. Um, but yeah, I thought he was being a little weird, and it seems like in that same conversation, Allie was like, she's like, you're being really weird. She's like, I don't know what it is, but you're being really, really weird. And I thought so too. I was like, from the start of the dinner, with the passive aggressive comment and just like, you know, something was, he said he was just tired. He was like, I'm just tired. And, and I hope for their case, as a couple, I hope that's the reason. He's just tired. So he's just, his thought processes may not be, a there 100. So maybe he's just jumping around. So let's just hope. And then they kissed. And again, she asked him to close his eyes. I'm like, why, dude, why are you kissing with your eyes open? Like, I just don't get that. Like, everybody know that's weird at this point. Like, that's kind of creepy. Okay, very creepy. Okay, so KB meets Edmund's mom. Okay, and she asks her what coconut hit her in the head to make her choose her son. And she's like, we just connected through the pods, like we connected, I understand his background, especially since I was, I do she's in social work. She was like, and I deal with children in that back. She's like, we connected through that, and we get it. I'm just still wondering if she knows about the booger eating yet. I'm just wondering about that because I don't know. She gave KB, uh, Edmund's mom, she gave KB some traditional beads from Ghana, and told her that Edmund would help her put them on because, she thought that would be a little more intimate, to put the beads around the waist. So she told that Edmund would help her with that. And his mom told Edmund, he's like, I like her. And she's ready for some grandkids. One thing that was weird, I was like, she told KB, she was like his mom, she's like, I like you. You don't seem like the type that would snitch on me to my sons. She's like, those other daughter-in-law of mine, they be snitching on me to my sons. I'm like, ma'am, what are you doing for them to snitch on you to your sons? Okay. Like, I don't know. People, I tell you. So I'm curious. It's like, what are you doing? Because she was like, man, they be snitching. They be telling on me. Like these daughter-in-laws of hers. But she said she loved her daughter-in-laws. She loved, her sons make good choices with the woman that they brought into their life. So I don't think it's anything negative, but I'm just wondering, like, they be telling what she be doing. Are you a little extra, ma'am? But anyways, Joe, he apologized to Madison again and told her that he planned on being more intentional. It's like this couple is always there's always some apology going back and forth with Joe and Madison. Okay, there's always something with them, but at least they apologized to each other. um, Jordan, he met Megan's mom and sister, and they got together on the day of her dad's the death of his fourth anniversary, of her dad's passing. Her sister said that she had a dream about Megan's situation. And in her dream, her dad came to her and says, he's the one with the child who's just like me, and I'm like, interesting. Or with the son who's just like me or whatever. And I'm just like, interesting. Like, I hope that is something that is true, um, for her sake, because everyone loves something where it's like, oh, it's foretelling, so I hope that's true. And that's kind of nice, like if, you can get some type of sign from somebody you love. Megan's mom and sister gave Jordan their blessing. Nick brought Annie to his house in the mountains. Um, and honestly, I like his mountain house. It was really interesting. He had like a race car simulator set up. Like he does all these different things that he was showing her, skis, and he does this and that and all this stuff. And he had like a race car simulator set up, and I really liked that. I thought that was kind of cool. She told him that she wouldn't want him to give up his place. And of course, he said they could have multiple residences. Um, and he's like, we could have a residence in Mallorca and all these. I was like, okay, okay. So, and of course, she was okay with that. Madison, she met Joe's family and they asked her if it alarmed her if he had been engaged before. And she said it didn't, they seemed to like her. Um, and so it went well. Allie met Anton's friends, and they didn't meet family, but they met friends, and they said that they could. His friends said they could understand the process because his friends they had been dating, I think, for 4 months. They said now, and they moved in the day like after their first date, they moved in together. So they were like, yeah, we understand a fast process. Um, so, and then Allie's, Anton's friends, they got up. The girl, she got up to go to the restroom, and Allie got up with her. When they went to the restroom, um, the girl, she was like, our Anton's friends, girl, she was like, yeah, he loves the strip club, girl. That's what she told. She didn't say it like that, but she was like, he loves to go to the strip club. They used to go together like all the time. And I used to tell my man that it's inappropriate, that's what she said. But she was like, yeah, Anton loves the strip club and he loves to party. That's what she said. Um, and she was like, yeah. And then Allie was like, yeah, that's not what he told me. He told me that it's his friend that likes to do all that stuff. Oh gosh. So yeah, she's like, yeah, we're gonna have to have a talk. That's what she told him. Like, you and I are gonna have to have a talk. Which I understand because you don't want your man, going to the strip club, I guess if he was going before, that's fine, but once we're together now, why is it necessary for you to go to the strip club? If it's not a bachelorette party or a bachelor party or whatever you want to call it. If it's not for something specific, like we don't need to go to the strip club at all, okay? But I'm just saying, I know people like to do that. But if you're gonna go, it's gonna go because like it's a boys' night out, something like that. We're just not gonna go all the time, and it's like once a year type thing. Like if we're gonna go at all, but we prefer not to go at all. And Allie don't seem like the type of girl who wants her man at the strip club. So no, sir, we're not going to the strip club. So that was definitely a red flag for her. Okay, so moving on to episode 9 now. Okay, so Edmund he brought KB some pink skates, some pinks like rollerblades. Because remember in the first episode when they were dating in the pods, he told her that he loved to rollerblade. Like he goes overseas and rollerblade and everything. So like that's like his thing. So I guess he wanted to include her in a part of his life. So I thought that was cute that he bought her those rollerblades. She tried them on and her legs were going like all over the place like a scissors, So she'll probably need to practice a little bit, but that's great. That's something that now they can do together, and I like that. Um, Megan and Jordan, they went to look at homes, and she was looking for something in the 1 to 1.5 million range, and Jordan was like, this is not in my budget, He's like, for me, I may be a financial burden on you because I'm strapped for cash. I can't afford a $1.5 million home, and she was willing to take on that burden. She was like, I can sell my home in LA. And that's what I thought. I was like, her LA is expensive, like a 3 bedroom, 2 bath is probably like a mil plus, just a regular home. So I'm like, she'll probably can get some money from that home when she first mentioned she had a house in LA. That's what I was thinking. So she was like, yeah, I don't mind selling it and then we can take out a loan. But I was like, the house is kind of big though. I was like, and it's just three of them. I was like, to start off, y'all could have just get something small, like a 3 bedroom is fine, even a 4 bedroom, because I think the house had like 6 bedrooms from it was a huge house, okay? It was a lot of house. And he was like, it's just us, it's not for me. They could probably find something smaller in a really good area, really nice area of Denver, something smaller, and then save some of that money, maybe something in this. I don't know Denver's real estate, but maybe send something to the 500,000 to the $1 million range. Maybe there's a nice neighborhood. They could just start slow, start out with that, and then once everybody but that's just me. That's what I was thinking. But she like Megan said she like to do big things, okay? She don't skimp on nothing. That's what she said. I don't skimp on nothing. Then some people are just like that. They work hard because she seems like the type of girl that work hard, that ain't trying to ask nobody for nothing. She just works hard and do her thing. So, and you can't, I'm not even gonna knock that, but at the same time, consider your partner, and consider your partner and meet somewhere in the middle with him, that let him feel like he can do something too. You know what I mean? Like he can contribute. Annie, she met Nick's family, and his family told her that sometimes Nick doesn't share his feelings very well, and but they liked her. They liked her. Um, So now all the pod people, they decide to get together for like a meetup. You know that meetup where people, can say who they like, who they didn't like, can say, did you miss me? Did you not miss me? The this is the meeting where sometimes couples got broken up because they be doing things they're not supposed to when they finally meet the people from the pods. So yeah, they did this meetup this time, okay? They're going to this meetup. So at this meetup, a little bit, okay. So at this meetup, um, Allie, she was telling the folks that Anton drinks a beer every morning after work, and she did not think that was okay. I was like, dang, that is not okay. Not a beer, you know, beer, not a beer. Yeah, that I don't know. That's can I don't know. That's to drink. To drink alcohol every single day, I can understand like every once in a while she noticed there's a stressful day at work, so he's like, I'm not about to go to bed yet, or I'm going straight to bed. Let me just drink this beer to help me because it's been a really stressful day or whatnot. Something like that. But every day, yeah, I'm not with that either. Another red flag for Anton. Anton, this wasn't supposed to happen. You are coming with the red flags left and right, sir. This was not supposed to happen with you. Okay? I was rooting for you. But he's come with the red flags. So hopefully he can squash these red flags, okay? Before it becomes like an issue. Because I think they're a cute couple, and they seem to really care about each other. So hopefully these things won't get in the way, and these are things that can be worked on. Like I said, the finances, the drinking, the beer, the passive aggressive comments, it's like, red flags. Um, Patrick, he showed up. If y'all remember Patrick, and he was telling the guys that Casey didn't want to see him. He got back to Denver, and she was like, oh, the show is over, and people are like, well, that has nothing to do with the show. Like, this is our relationship now. But she was like, she didn't want to see him. Poor Patrick, he just was not getting the picture. It seems like from how he was explaining it to the guys, he was not getting it. Like, bruh, she did not want you to begin with. Period. And it had nothing to do with anything else, even though she was trying to fake and pretend like it did. She's not a good person, and she was just playing you. Like, she was just playing you. Or she may be a good person, she just, in this situation, she wasn't being a good person. Let me put it that way, because I don't know her fully, but in this situation, she was not being what a good person is supposed to be with when dealing with him. She could have handled this so much better. um and he told them, she said, she said he asked her the ring back, and she was like, no, I'm keeping the ring, because she said she's been through some things too. Okay, like she has feelings too, and she's hurt, so she's keeping the ring too. I was like, okay, this woman is a piece of work. Okay, but I didn't know that they paid for the rings. I thought it was like production and all that stuff. So okay, that's good to know that they actually, put forth their money to pay for these engagement rings. um so Annie, she finally met Brendan, and she was like, I thought this was weird. She was like, oh, in the pods, he was like all about me. He was talking about how much he loved me and this, then, and the other. But she was like, I'm not getting that energy tonight. Ma'am, you're engaged to a whole other man. Do you think he was gonna come and profess his love? I think maybe this was the point where she thought he was gonna come and tell her he loved her and try to convince her to change her mind so that she could like big up herself and make her feel like some type of way, could boost her. She was looking for an ego boost that she didn't really get, because I was like, ma'am, you chose somebody else over him. And he came back and begged you, and you still said no after he came back. Yeah, it was a little too late for you, but what did you expect from that? Like tonight, what did you? I didn't get that. I was like, I don't get what you expect from him. Like, I don't get it. Um, but anyways, I was like, did you want him to come in and break up your relationship? What were you thinking he was gonna come and do? Like, she's like, that's not the energy. So that lets me know I made the right choice. If that should not be the reason that lets you know you made the right choice. Because him coming in, he just wasn't coming in hot. He was coming in and just trying to be respectful. He was like, well, she chose somebody else. They've been together for a little bit now. Let me be respectful of this, you know? Let me meet her, see who she looks like in person. Like, just because he didn't come in blazing, guns blazing, trying to take Nick out and be like, you're mine. Like, I know you had this fantasy in your head that that's what's probably going to happen, and it didn't. So it's like now you're having a little tissy. Like, that lets me know I made the right choice. I was like, girl, Annie, I can't. Um, I like you, know, Annie, but I can't with this situation. Mike and Megan, they they met for the first time, and of course, she figured he looked like how she would look. And she was like, of course there's an attraction there, but I made my choice and I'm happy with my choice. I'm not going to disrespect that at all. And I like that. I was like, go Megan, go Megan. And then Mike came up to her and he asked her to dance, and she said no. It was like, not no, no, I'm sorry, oh no, it was like no. It's like, yeah, girl. See, that's my type of girl. I like people like that. Like, just let's not play around. Like, we're not playing around. We're not trying to appease anybody. Like, I got my man. I'm gonna be respectful. I can say no. Like, I like people like that. There's not enough people like that. So very respectful. So I like that. Go, Megan. Good for you. Um, but then you asked her if she thinks if she's made a mistake. And of course she was like, nah. She's like, I am happy with my choice. Good for you. Yeah, she told him no. I was like, Mac was just trying to stir something up. Anyways, that's what he looked like he was trying to stir something up. I was like, she made her choice, and I think from what I've seen so far, Jordan he's still young. He's only 29 still. So there's some points where it's just like you see that boyish side of him kind of come out. But at the end of the day, the way he speaks to her, I can see that there's also that mature side of him when he was trying to calm her down when she was getting, his mature side comes out. So he has both sides, and yes, he'll probably need to work on being a little bit more mature, you know, moving forward, especially leading into marriage. But other than that, I think she made a good choice with Jordan too. I like Jordan for her. Up until now, from what I've seen, I was like, that's good. Okay, all right. And then Patrick met Anna, um, and he told her that if she hadn't left, that it would have been her. And she basically told him that she's like, I don't believe you because you asked somebody else to marry you. I was like, okay, Anna, sorry. Okay, Anna, I got what you're saying, but it's true. You were his main choice. He had taken Casey like off his radar. And it took him a little bit to get Casey back on his radar, but he's like, well, you're gone now, so let me play this process out the way it should be. And plus there was rumblings that you may have gone with the other old dude. What was his name? I forgot his name. There are rumblings that you might have gone with him. So and you did it so abruptly, he probably thought you didn't like him, which is probably what I would have think. So if I'm thinking somebody don't want me, I'm not gonna spend my time pining after them. I'm gonna be like, you know what? I gotta move forward. I just gotta move forward. They don't like me, they left. Okay, what can I do? I'm not gonna force people to love me. So I was like, I see what she was saying, but I was like, in this situation, it honestly does not apply in this situation. Like, because this situation really isn't like, because at the end, you don't have to say, I do. So they ask you to marry them just because they do love you. But at the end of the day, you don't have to say yes. It's just getting to know them. It's just the way it's almost like it's real, but it's a game at the same time. It's like, well, I like you most out of everybody else. So to see where this may go, I want to ask you to marry me. I wish there was a way maybe to say, but I guess this is the way this whole process plays out because they want to see how far people will go. And I guess it's just the way Love is Blind is because other reality shows you don't have to ask people to marry them, but this is a way like, can you fall in love and be married? So I guess that's just so I see Anna's point, but in this situation, it wasn't like that. Plus, it definitely wasn't like that in this situation because Casey basically pulled out all her heavy artillery um to get Patrick to propose to her. She finessed that engagement out of him. Okay, Casey did like she turned her sexuality up 100. You know, um, so sad, but yeah, Casey's a piece of work. I'm just curious to see, like, at the reunion if she shows up and what she got to say, because that woman right there. Um, Edmund, she tried to call out KB, I'm sorry, he tried to call out KB, saying, when did you do something nice for me? Like, why don't you do something? She was like, what? She was not having it. She was like, why would you even say that in front of these people? And she was like, and I tell you, you're nice all the time. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I guess he's saying she doesn't tell him she's nice or say nice things to him. And she's like, I do that all the time. She was like, this is not the place to have that conversation, Edmund. You know, she was basically trying to explain herself to him, like trying to explain, like, there's a place and time for certain conversations, and this wasn't it. Like, in front of our group of friends, you don't bring this up. We talk all the time. You tell me at home, we talk about this at home if this is how you really feel, you know? and he just wasn't getting it. He was like, but I love you though. But I love you though. So he was, again, this is why this is another situation where I do feel like, he is on the spectrum because of just his reaction to social situations. It was just like, it was so childlike, and she was just trying to handle it as mature as a woman as possible. It's almost like there is, because I was wondering if she's seen this, if she actually sees that he's, or maybe she knows something we don't. Maybe she knows he's on the spectrum a little bit, and maybe he told her in confidence, or maybe she's been told in confidence and can be like, I can accept that as long as he's mature enough to accept responsibilities. Because, being, being autistic or being, doesn't mean you can't, handle yourself well, or doesn't mean you can't handle relationships, and doesn't mean you can't handle, it just means like, there's certain things that may take you a little bit longer to get, socially or cognitively. And sometimes they're very smart people. People on the spectrum, they're super, super, super intelligent, like genius level intelligent. But then there's certain things where it just have to take repetitiveness for them to get it. Like, hey, brush your teeth every day, or you got to take a shower every day. It's like, it's got to be like repetitive thing, because that's not something that they focus on. But yet they could, solve Einstein like level problems. They can create like systems out of nothing. They can, so being on the spectrum is one of those things where it's not it's not as simple as, oh, he's not getting it, but I see just the way he's reacting to her. But she's like, so that woman, I tell you, KB she is so mature, and so she's so emotionally intelligent when it comes to him, like super emotionally intelligent. Like, she was trying to talk to him. She doesn't raise her voice. She just try to talk to him, try to explain to him. And even when he's not getting it, and you could see he just wasn't getting it, he was basically acting like a child, like very much like a child. The way he was, like, he's like, you're gonna walk away now. Like, this is what you're gonna do. Like, he was trying to explain. It was almost like he's trying to explain the steps of an argument, because he realized that they were in an argument, but he's not understanding that people don't react the way you think they're going to react. Like, that's not going to be that's not what the reaction, she's just trying to explain to you her point. So it's interesting watching them. She is so gracious, she is so, kind towards him, she's so understanding towards him. But at some point, it's just like, he needs to get a grip and understand, like, you can't do certain things, you can't say certain things in public. And she don't need she don't need another child, honestly. So I don't know how far this will go, um, because I can understand her loving him. He's very likable, he is. And he has a job, he seems to be able to hold his own in certain respects. So on certain things he gets it, but you know on certain things, it's so hard. It's like having to explain to your child over and over again. So I'm like, is this something that she feels like she's going to be able to take on? Will this be something that, will weigh will weigh small on her scale of important things, of what's important to her in a relationship? Or is this something where she feels like, this if this is going to be my day today, I can handle this? So I really do wonder. So the episode ended with him just kind of, Edmund just kind of sitting by himself, you know, standing by himself, because she's like, I'm not talking to you right now. She's just upset that he wasn't understanding what she was trying to explain to him. So, yeah, I wonder about that couple, and how they may go. But yeah, so that's it for my recap and review of episode 7 through 9. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe, like, and subscribe. Yeah, thank you guys for watching.